Ladies and gentlemen, imagine this. You open your eyes, and for once, there's no weight on your chest, no rush, no dread, no script running wild in your head. Only stillness, only presence, only the miracle of being alive. Why is that so rare? Because most people don't wake up. They simply restart. They roll over, pick up yesterday's thoughts, yesterday's fears, yesterday's noise, and call it life. But what if I told you, waking up happy has nothing to do with what happens in the morning, and everything to do with what you believe about your existence? Happiness doesn't arrive in your inbox. It isn't a message you receive. It's a song you remember, a frequency you realign with. After forgetting again and again that your soul was designed to be light. The problem is simple. You go to sleep worried. You sleep shallow. You wake up burdened. You stroll the news. You compare your life before you've even lived it. You let the outside world speak first and wonder why you can't hear your own joy anymore. But here's the truth. You're not meant to wake up for a job. You're not meant to wake up for duty. You're meant to wake up for you, for breath, for peace, for presence. You want to be happy in the morning? Then reclaim your evening. Turn off the noise an hour before sleep, not because it's a trend, but because you cannot drink peace from a cup filled with noise. Speak kind words to yourself at night. Whisper thank yous for things that haven't even arrived yet. Smile, not because everything's perfect, but because you're done needing it to be. And then, when you rise, don't check the world. Check your soul. Am I breathing? Am I alive? Am I free? And the answer is always yes, until you believe otherwise. You've been conditioned to think happiness is a reward. If not, it's a recognition of the now, of your heart still beating, of the sky still showing up. The next time you wake, don't seek happiness. Be still enough to feel it. It's already there, like the sun behind clouds, like the ocean behind waves, like you beneath the noise. The moment you remember this, you'll wake up different. You'll wake up free. You'll wake up happy every day. Happiness isn't something to pursue, it's something you remember. You see, we've been sold the idea that happiness is somewhere else, out there, in some future moment, tied to an achievement, a status, a bank balance, or the validation of others. We're told to chase it, to climb the ladder, to improve, to hustle, to earn our way into joy. And so, without even realizing it, we turn life into a transaction where peace is purchased with exhaustion and contentment is delayed until conditions are met. But here's the truth no one tells you. Happiness is not something distant to be chased. It's something deep that's been buried. It's not a reward waiting at the finish line. It's a natural state that lives quietly beneath all the noise you've been taught to believe. You don't achieve happiness. You uncover it. You remember it. Think about when you were a child. You didn't need a reason to laugh. You didn't wait for permission to play. You didn't need a perfect situation to feel joy. You simply felt it. You didn't ask, what will they think, before dancing. You didn't compare your life to anyone else's before deciding to enjoy it. You were present, open, alive. That was not immaturity. That was wisdom, before the world taught you how to forget it. And so, waking up happy has less to do with what's going on around you, and everything to do with what you've remembered about yourself. The world will always try to make you forget. Forget your worth, your peace, your simple joy of being alive. It will tell you that happiness lies in something else, someone else, somewhere else. But the moment you stop running, the moment you stop looking outside and start feeling inside, you will remember what happiness really is. It's not the result of a perfect life. It's the echo of alignment. When your actions, your thoughts, and your presence all come from the same place, the real you feel light, you feel whole, not because you got more, but because you carried less. And ironically, the more you chase happiness as an object, the further it runs. Because in that chase, you reinforce the idea that you don't have it. And whatever you believe you lack, you push away. But when you remember that it's already there, quiet, soft, buried under layers of fear and judgment and expectation, it begins to rise again. You don't have to fix everything to feel happy. You don't have to wait until your life looks like a highlight reel. You just have to pause long enough to feel what's already good. The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of your breath, the miracle of your body waking up after a night of unconsciousness. That's not small. That's sacred. The reason most people don't wake up happy isn't because life is miserable. It's because they've forgotten to notice the beauty in it. They've forgotten to remember what matters. And the world, with its endless distractions, profits off that forgetfulness. What can you do? Start your mornings not by reaching for your phone or your problems, but by reaching for your awareness. Feel your existence before your obligations. Smile. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've remembered that it doesn't need to be. Close your eyes and say, I remember what peace feels like. I remember who I am beneath the noise. I remember joy. And slowly, that memory becomes your reality again. So no, you don't need to chase happiness. You need to wake it up by waking up the part of you that already knows how to feel it. Happiness was never lost. You were just taught to look in all the wrong places. Now you know better. And the moment you truly remember, you'll find that you've already arrived. You wake up miserable because you sleep with chaos in your mind. There is a direct connection between the thoughts you carry into the night and the energy you wake up with in the morning. Most people don't realize that sleep is not just a physical rest. It is an energetic reset. And like any system, what you feed it determines what it produces. If you go to bed full of stress, unresolved emotions, mental clutter, and digital noise, you don't truly rest. Your body might lie still, but your mind remains in motion, processing, recycling, worrying, overthinking. You don't sleep. You drift, tangled in the same thoughts you couldn't quiet during the day. The result? You wake up with heaviness. The body rises, but the soul stays buried under layers of anxiety. There's no freshness, no joy, no space for gratitude to breathe. You reach for your phone before your feet even touch the floor. Notifications greet you before silence. You check your messages before you check in with yourself. And the cycle continues. Chaos at night, confusion in the morning, disconnection all day. It doesn't start in the morning, it starts in the evening, with what you allow into your mental and emotional space. The chaos we carry to sleep becomes the atmosphere we wake up in. Thoughts left unprocessed don't disappear, they wait. Emotions you suppress don't dissolve, they seep into your subconscious. And when you don't give your mind permission to pause, It finds no reason to stop. You can't expect a peaceful morning if you don't create a peaceful night. You can't wake up with clarity if you fall asleep in mental fog. Yet many people treat bedtime like a deadline. They fall into bed exhausted, after staring at screens, absorbing conflict, noise, and artificial urgency. The mind is still buzzing when the eyes close. That isn't rest. That's self-neglect, disguised as getting through the day. So how do you break this? You begin by honoring the space between your last thought and your first breath. You create a ritual, not one based on perfection, but on presence. Give yourself time to disconnect from the world, not just physically, but emotionally. Let go of the day's weight. Speak to yourself gently. Don't carry arguments, disappointments, fears into your rest. They have no place in your sacred stillness. Try silence before sleep, not the silence of loneliness, but the silence of returning to yourself. Breathe deeply, not to relax, but to remember that you're alive, not just surviving. Write down what's on your mind. Empty the mental drawer. Don't let the chaos spill into your dreams. Your mind is not a dumping ground. It is the gateway to your experience. If you clutter it, you distort everything that passes through it, including the way you see your mornings, your life, and your worth. People want to wake up motivated, energized, joyful, but that can't happen when you feed your subconscious with worry and fear before sleep. You become what you repeat. And if you constantly fall asleep in emotional unrest, you train your mind to expect discomfort as your default state. Begin teaching your inner world a new rhythm, one of calm, one of trust, one of quiet faith, that you don't need to control everything before you sleep. The world won't fall apart if you let go for a few hours. And when you do, you create space for something far more powerful to rise. Waking up happy isn't a mystery. It's a habit, a sacred loop. The thoughts you sleep with become the emotions you rise with. The emotions you rise with become the tone of your day. And the tone of your day becomes the story of your life. If you truly want to wake up feeling free, feeling light, feeling whole, don't wait for the morning. Begin with the night. Begin with peace. Begin with the courage to choose stillness over stimulation, softness over stress. Because when the mind rests in calm, the soul rises in joy, every single time. A happy morning begins the night before, with peace, not pressure. We often treat sleep as the final task in a long list of demands. We go through the day, absorbing stress, rushing through moments, checking boxes, and then, when our energy is depleted, we collapse into bed, I'm hoping that rest will come simply because we're tired. But the mind doesn't respond to exhaustion the way the body does. The body can surrender when it's worn out. The mind, however, needs space to release. It needs intention to let go. And that's why most people wake up feeling just as tired as when they went to sleep, because they carried their pressure into the night. Think about how most people end their day, scrolling through phones, comparing their lives, soaking in news headlines, messages, endless to-do lists, and half-finished conversations. The lights go out, but their thoughts don't. They lie down with tight chests and racing thoughts. Their bodies still, but their minds restless. And somehow they expect to wake up refreshed. But there's a simple truth. Pressure doesn't vanish with sleep. It lingers in the background, shaping your dreams, your breathing, your emotional state. If you want a happy morning, you have to create a gentle ending to your day. You must let go of pressure. This means more than turning off the lights. It means turning inward. It means giving yourself permission to put down the weight you've been carrying all day. Because happiness isn't found in productivity. It's found in presence. And presence doesn't come when you're rushing. It comes when you pause. You cannot pressure your way into peace. It must be welcomed, nurtured, invited. And this begins in the hour before bed, the hour where most people either rehearse their anxiety or reclaim their calm. It is in this hour that your nervous system either tightens or unwinds. Your spirit either retreats further or returns home to itself. The happiest mornings are born from nights where you chose stillness over stimulation, when you chose to breathe rather than scroll, when you looked up at the ceiling and reflected instead of looking down at a screen and escaping. The most peaceful awakenings come from the nights where you whispered to yourself, "It's okay to let it all go now. I did enough. I am enough. The rest will come." Because you see, sleep isn't just physical. It's spiritual. It's not just about rest. It's about realignment. It's your daily opportunity to reset, to cleanse your inner world, to start again. But that can't happen when you fall asleep in resistance. You have to surrender. You have to release the need to fix everything before you sleep. You have to trust that you are held, that you are safe, and that peace is available not as a reward, but as a choice. There is no productivity hack or morning routine that can replace the power of a peaceful night. No amount of coffee, affirmations, or journaling can override a nervous system that was overloaded the night before. What you do in the last hour of your day shapes the entire rhythm of the next. What if you began to treat your nights as sacred? What if you gave yourself permission to unplug, not as an escape, but as an act of love? What if you ended your day by asking, "What did I learn? What can I forgive? What can I leave behind tonight?" And answered with full honesty and grace. When you begin to honor your rest with intention, your mornings begin to reflect that love. You rise with clarity. You move with ease. You don't wake up running. You wake up arriving. So yes, a happy morning begins the night before. And no, it's not about what time you sleep or how soft your pillow is. It's about whether your soul feels held, whether your mind feels safe, whether your spirit feels released from the pressure of performance. Choose peace, and you'll wake up remembering who you are. Choose pressure, and you'll forget all over again. Make the right choice every night. Waking up happy is not about external achievements. It's about inner alignment. Most people begin their mornings chasing something, a purpose, a task, an outcome. They measure the quality of their day by how much they get done, how far they move toward their goals, how quickly they can check off their to-do list. This chase begins the moment they open their eyes. But deep inside, something always feels off, a tension beneath the surface, a quiet dissatisfaction that lingers, even when things seem to be going well. Why? Because the world has taught us to define our mornings by what we do, not by how we feel. We've been told that happiness comes from productivity, success, recognition, things that exist outside of us. We tie our joy to results, to progress, to external markers that may or may not arrive, and in doing so, we lose the ability to simply be. We trade our peace for performance, and we call it ambition. But waking up happy isn't about having your life figured out. It's not about waking up to a perfect job, perfect partner, perfect plan. It's about waking up whole. And that wholeness comes from one thing: alignment. When who you are, what you believe, and how you move through the world all point in the same direction, you feel light, you feel calm, you feel real. Alignment means there's no war between your heart and your actions. It means you're not forcing yourself into spaces that don't fit, relationships that drain you, or roles that exhaust your soul. It means your inner truth is not being suffocated by your outer performance. It means you're not betraying yourself to meet someone else's expectations. And when you live like that, when you honor what's real within you, your mornings become softer. You don't wake up with dread because you're not running from yourself. You don't need a reason to smile because your joy isn't conditional anymore. It isn't waiting for a goal to be reached. It's living, breathing, present, right where you are. The problem is, we've been programmed to ignore alignment. We call it luxury, not necessity. We convince ourselves that one day, when we've earned enough, proven enough, achieved enough, then we'll give ourselves permission to live in truth. But alignment isn't a prize. It's a compass. And the longer you ignore it, the more lost you feel, even in the middle of a successful life. Waking up happy is about asking yourself, am I living from the inside out or the outside in? Are my mornings a reflection of my values or just a reaction to my obligations? Do I feel peace in who I am, or am I constantly trying to be someone else just to feel worthy? And the answer comes from truth. Happiness follows naturally. Because happiness doesn't need to be chased when you're aligned. It rises on its own. It becomes the side effect of a soul that's no longer at war with itself. This doesn't mean life will be perfect. It doesn't mean you won't face struggle, discomfort, or challenge. It means that even in those moments you won't feel lost. You won't feel fake. You won't feel empty. Because alignment gives you a center, a place within you that doesn't shake when the world does. Don't start your mornings asking, what can I accomplish today? Start by asking, what can I honor in myself today? And don't go to sleep wondering if you did enough. Ask instead, did I stay true to what matters most to me? That's how you create mornings that are soft and full. That's how you stop needing every moment to be exciting or successful, because you've found something deeper, peace. Peace from alignment. Peace from being you. And once you have that, happiness is no longer something you reach for. It's something you wake up with. You are not here to chase happiness. You are here to become a peaceful presence. And in becoming, you invite happiness to rise with the sun. This is where most people misunderstand the nature of joy. They think it's something they have to hunt down, something they have to run toward. That happiness is a goal, a reward waiting at the end of a path paved with struggle, discipline, and endless striving. So they chase, day after day, achievement after achievement, always reaching, always hoping that the next step will finally deliver the feeling they've been missing. But the more they chase it, the more escapes them. Because joy is not something that's found outside of you. It's something that grows from the stillness within. A stillness you cultivate not through force or success, but through presence. You were never meant to chase happiness. You were meant to remember your natural state, a state of calm awareness, of gentle aliveness. That's who you were before the noise, before the fear, before the expectations of others began to shape you into someone you thought you needed to be. And happiness, it doesn't respond to effort, it responds to truth. It rises not because you ran toward it, but because you stopped running away from yourself. You don't need more things. You don't need more validation. You don't need another layer of achievement to finally be enough. What you need is to become deeply, quietly at peace with your own presence, to be okay in your own company, to feel the simplicity of now, the breath in your lungs, the space around you, the silence that is never empty, only waiting to be heard. When you stop grasping at joy like it's a possession, it begins to flow into your life like water, effortlessly, naturally, because you are no longer blocking it with your need to control, fix, or improve everything. You are simply being. And in that being, you remember who you are, who you always were. A peaceful presence is magnetic. It changes everything, not because it fixes the world around you, but because it shifts the way you interact with it. When you move from peace, you don't react, you respond. You don't panic, you pause. You don't chase people or outcomes. You attract them, because people can feel when you are rooted in something deeper than approval. And this is the secret to waking up happy. You don't have to design a perfect morning routine. You don't have to speak 10 affirmations or drink green juice while meditating at sunrise. All of that is fine, but none of it matters if your inner world is in conflict. True joy in the morning is the result of a soul that feels safe in its own skin, a spirit that isn't waiting for the world to deliver something new. When you decide to stop chasing and start becoming, everything shifts. You begin to live from the inside out. You begin to listen to yourself, not the noise. You begin to recognize happiness not as an event, but as a quiet readiness, a readiness to meet life without fear, to walk into each day not needing it to go your way, but willing to flow with whatever comes. This doesn't mean you stop dreaming. It doesn't mean you let go of growth. It simply means that you understand something deeper now, that you are not here to endlessly strive for a fleeting feeling. You are here to embody something eternal, peace. And from that peace, happiness rises, not with the rush of a chase, but with the calm of the morning sun, soft, steady, sure. So stop running, breathe, come home to yourself, You are not missing anything. You are not behind. The peace you're looking for is waiting in the space you haven't yet dared to sit in. Become it. And you won't have to chase happiness ever again. It will wake up with you every day. You carry yesterday's anxiety like a chain. Release it, or it will script your tomorrow. Happiness is not delayed, it's denied when you carry too much of what isn't yours. Each day is born new, fresh, untouched. It arrives like a blank canvas, offering you the opportunity to paint something honest, something beautiful, something real. But what do most people do? They wake up and immediately reach for the past. They remember the arguments that drained them, the failures that haunt them, the fears they never faced. They resurrect yesterday's heaviness and wear it like armor, as if carrying the weight makes them strong, as if replaying the pain somehow prepares them for peace. But that's not how happiness works. Happiness does not grow in the clutter of yesterday's burdens. It doesn't bloom in the soil of old regrets, unresolved conversations, and emotional wounds that were never given air to breathe. Happiness needs space. It needs light. It needs the courage to let go, not just of what happened, but of what you keep telling yourself about what happened. You don't wake up miserable because the day is flawed. You wake up heavy because you haven't learned how to put things down. You drag thoughts with you that were meant to be released. You rehearse pain that no longer belongs to the present. And in doing so, you deny yourself access to the peace. It's right in front of you. Think about this. How can today be different if you carry into it the same mindset that shaped your yesterday? How can you step into new opportunities when your arms are already full of fear, resentment, and self-doubt? You have to choose. Choose to release what no longer serves you. Choose to forgive, not because others deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. Choose to stop playing scenes in your mind that leave you drained and hopeless. Choose to leave yesterday behind, not because it wasn't real, but because it's over. And no matter how tightly you hold on to it, you cannot live forward while facing backward. Anxiety in its deepest form is a repetition of the past projected onto the future. It's your mind saying, what if it happens again? So it builds walls. It writes stories. It tries to control everything, but that control is an illusion. And the more you try to grip it, the more exhausted you become. Letting go is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's understanding that your peace is more valuable than your pride, that your joy is more important than proving a point, that your freedom is not in changing the past. It's in not letting the past change you anymore. When you start to release, really release, what has weighed you down, you begin to rise in ways you never imagined. You wake up lighter. You move slower, not because you're tired, but because you're present. You no longer feel the need to rush or prove. You're not racing toward happiness. You're already living in alignment with it. And this is what people miss. They think happiness is about adding things. More money, more success, more attention. But real joy is often found in subtraction, in the quiet act of unburdening, in the sacred pause between one breath and the next, where you decide, I don't need to carry this anymore. It may not happen all at once. Some weights take time to put down. But even the intention begins the process. Even the awareness starts the healing. And little by little, as you release, you'll begin to feel something unexpected. Space. Space for laughter, for gratitude, for love. Space for happiness to finally enter, not as a reward, but as a return. As you close your eyes at night, ask yourself gently, what am I still carrying that I don't need tomorrow? And as you rise each morning, remind yourself, I am not defined by what hurt me. I am free to choose peace today. That's how happiness begins, not in doing more, but in carrying less. And that choice, it's always yours. Joy is natural, misery is learned. You were born knowing how to smile. Why did you forget? Every child enters the world with a light in their eyes and laughter in their breath. They smile without a reason. They dance without music. They ask questions without fear. They don't worry about tomorrow or regret yesterday. They live moment by moment, exploring the world with curiosity and wonder. That is the original state of your being. That is your truth, joyful, open, free. But over time something changes. You are taught to be careful, to be serious, to suppress your curiosity, your playfulness, your spontaneous laughter. You are rewarded for being quiet, for following rules, for doing what you're told, even when what you're told goes against your nature. You begin to believe that happiness is something you must earn, that joy is a luxury only permitted when everything is in order. Slowly, you start to forget. You forget how to laugh without a reason. You forget how to feel without filtering. You forget how to simply be without needing to prove or produce. And in this forgetting, misery is learnt. Not misery in the dramatic sense, but in the subtle discontent that settles into your bones, the quiet heaviness you carry through your days, the chronic dissatisfaction that whispers, you're not enough, you need more. But the truth is, none of this is natural. Joy is natural. Stillness is natural. The ability to wake up in awe, to smile at sunlight, to feel gratitude for no particular reason, that is your birthright. And you never really lost it. You were just trained to believe that you did. Misery is reinforced by repetition, by waking up and immediately focusing on what's missing, by scrolling through a digital world that constantly reminds you of what you lack, by surrounding yourself with expectations that never pause, never soften, never say, you've done enough. But joy requires only that you remember what it was like to run barefoot through grass, to feel the breeze and believe it was made just for you, to see beauty in the smallest things, to giggle for no reason except the pure energy of life bubbling inside you. You don't have to manufacture joy. You only have to remove the layers of fear, judgment, and pressure that have covered it. And how do you do that? You begin by becoming aware of the ways you've disconnected, the ways you've been taught to numb yourself, to act more grown up, to be acceptable instead of authentic. You start questioning the stories you've accepted, the idea that life must always be serious, that happiness must be deserved, that lightness means you're not working hard enough. Then you return. Not all at once, but in small ways. You laugh more, even if it feels awkward. You pause to feel the sun on your skin. You let music move your body. You speak gently to yourself. You choose presence over performance. And in those quiet choices, joy returns, not as a guest, but as a part of you that never truly left. The most powerful truth is this: you don't have to learn how to be happy. You only have to unlearn what made you forget. You don't have to wait for everything to go right. You don't have to have all the answers. You only need to give yourself permission to feel joy again, right here, right now. Because life is not a test you must pass to earn happiness. It is a gift you were born to experience with full aliveness. And joy is the signal that you are in alignment with your true self. Ask yourself today, not what you need to do to be happy, but what you need to let go of to remember that you already are. Because joy has been patiently waiting beneath the noise, beneath the habits, beneath the identity you've constructed, waiting for you to remember what you once knew so well, that it's okay to smile without reason, that it's okay to be light in a heavy world, that it's okay to be you just as you are. Gratitude is the most radical form of rebellion in a world that profits off your dissatisfaction. If you want to wake up happy, start by not believing everything society tells you to need. From the moment you open your eyes, the world begins its whisper. Sometimes it screams, telling you that what you have isn't enough. Who you are isn't enough. And where you are is not where you should be. It feeds you images, headlines, comparisons. It sells you stories of success and perfection, carefully crafted to make you believe that happiness is always just one step away, if only you had more money, more status, more followers, more control. But here's the truth. That narrative was never designed to make you feel whole. It was designed to keep you chasing, never quite arriving. Because as long as you believe you're lacking, you'll keep searching outside yourself, and in that constant search, you forget the one thing that could set you free: gratitude. Gratitude is not some cliché or soft-spoken ritual. It's a radical shift in perception. It's the quiet decision to say, I already have enough, even when the world tells you otherwise. It's the courage to look at your life and see beauty, not brokenness. To see presence, not problems. To see now as sacred, not as a stepping stone to somewhere better. Most people wake up and immediately check what they missed. They check messages, headlines, deadlines. They begin the day in reaction mode, already consumed by what they don't have, what might go wrong, or what they fail to finish. And from that place, happiness becomes almost impossible, because their mind has already been hijacked by dissatisfaction. But the moment you pause, the moment you take a deep breath and say, thank you, not for anything dramatic, but for something simple. Something, for instance, from the greatest form, we'll start going. Not go anywhere. Not go anywhere. You think your body for waking up. You thank the air for being breathable. You thank the stillness of the morning, the softness of the light. And in doing that, you shift your state from lack to presence. That's what gratitude does. It brings you back to now. And now is where happiness lives. Gratitude doesn't ignore reality. It reframes it. It doesn't pretend everything is perfect. It chooses to see what's already valuable. It doesn't silence ambition, but it stops ambition from becoming a trap. You can still grow, still dream, still expand. But now, you're not growing from emptiness. You're expanding from fullness. This shift changes everything. Because once you start seeing what's already good, You stop obsessing over what's missing. You stop measuring yourself by standards that were never yours. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel, and suddenly peace enters. Not because your life is flawless, but because your perspective is aligned with truth. Gratitude is the rebellion that doesn't require noise. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove anything. You simply stop playing the game. You stop needing more to feel worthy. You stop chasing what doesn't serve your soul. You look around and you realize, I have breath. I have choice. I have life. That's more than enough to begin with joy. Start your mornings not with pressure, but with presence. Before you reach for your phone, reach for your breath. Before you think about what's missing, name 3 things that are already here. Let gratitude anchor you. Let it be your shield against the noise. Let it remind you that happiness is not waiting at the top of a mountain. It's already in the ground beneath your feet. And when you live like this, you become dangerous to a world that wants you always hungry, because a grateful person cannot be manipulated by scarcity. A grateful person knows how to rest without guilt, how to smile without reason, how to love without condition. If you truly want to wake up happy, don't chase, don't compare, don't conform. Just remember what you already have. Remember who you already are. Remember that the very act of waking up is a miracle, and the most powerful way to honor that miracle is to say every single day, thank you. That's where happiness begins. The Gain was my second book. Happiness was never a mystery. It was a remembering. A quiet return to what's always been within you. Not something to chase, but something to allow. Not a goal for someday, but a presence you can choose today. You wake up happy not because life is perfect, but because you are at peace. You don't need the world to bend to your will. You don't need more to feel whole. You only need to let go of what you were never meant to carry. The chaos, the comparisons, the constant pressure to be more than you already are. Each morning is a new invitation, a chance to rise, not just from sleep, but from unconscious living. To breathe with awareness, to smile without reason, to move through the day as a calm and centered force in a restless world. So don't wait for happiness to find you. Become the space it flows into. Wake up gently, wake up gratefully. And most of all, wake up you.